Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you can join me here today. If you're new, my name is Kumal. I'm an accountant by day and an avid reader by night. And in these videos, I like to synthesize and explain what I've read in a way that makes sense and that you can understand. I've read quite a few books in the last few years, and the more books you read, the more you realize that there are some books that you read once. There are some books that you read a part of and you just put it away because you know you won't get any benefit. There are some books that you will read from cover to cover and maybe read once or twice more or maybe 3 times more. But there are some books that you know that you will have to keep on coming back again and again and again, because every time you read the book, you get a different perspective. You get a different type of understanding that you never got the first and the second and the third and the 10th time you read the book. So it's more like a reference book in which you come back to again and again. Now, in history, there are quite a few books that I would say are reference books. Some of the examples that I think would come under this category are, for example, Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. This is one book that I think I would come to over again and again. I've read it a few times and I would definitely look at it again and again. So that's one. The other one that I have here is Plato's Republic. You can tell I'm going through a Greek theme here. Plato's Republic, again, a lot of interesting and phenomenal things that you can learn from here. And over time, when you keep on reading this and coming back to it, you get a different understanding and a different view of things that you wouldn't in the first time, the second time, the third time that you read it. And I just find it a phenomenal read. So yeah, that's another example of a book that I would come to. What else? A book like Descartes' Meditations. So I don't have it here, but that's another book that I would essentially say I would come back to it, because that's something that you would want to read over a prolonged period of time. So you can read it once and then maybe a little while later, a year later, 2 years later, you come back to it and you get a different perspective. Now, in light of that, while talking about these kind of books, there's one book that I've read recently and I've come across and I think would fall into this category of a reference book that I would come back to time and time again. And that is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus was a Roman emperor. And he was a phenomenal thinker, philosopher, a person of deep insight. I would highly recommend this translation by Gregory Hayes. It's been recommended by Ryan Holiday, who's someone I really admire in terms of his work on Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, etc. So I would definitely recommend this as a good translation to look at. Now, when it comes to this book, I mean, like I said, this is one of those books where you would want to come back to again and again, because there's just so much to unpack in these words that Marcus penned down. And actually, if you look at it, the words that Marcus penned down were not meant for you and me. No. Those words were meant for himself. This was a personal journal that he kept with him at all times. It was published, but it was never meant to be for you and I. It was just meant for his thoughts. So he wasn't writing to tell us what to do. He was writing for himself. He was writing his thoughts down for himself. He wasn't having this grand vision of publishing a book or whatever of that sort. No, he wasn't. I'm going to read a passage from page 21 of this translation, which is book 2, on the river Gran among the Quayi. This is number 13. Number 13. Okay. What does he say? He says, nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath, and conducting investigations into the souls of the people around them, never realizing that all you have to do is to be attentive to the power inside you and worship it sincerely. To worship it is to keep it from being muddied with turmoil and becoming aimless and dissatisfied with nature, divine and human. What is divine deserves our respect because it is good, and what is human deserves our affection because it is like us, and our pity too sometimes for its inability to tell good from bad, as terrible a blindness as the kind that can't tell white from black. Wow, phenomenal. So there's so much to unpack. So he's basically saying, stop, busying your lives with people outside and concerning what they are doing and who they are, etc., etc. Busy yourself with yourself. There's so much to unpack in here. We have one life and we are wasting it thinking about this person and that person and backbiting about this person and getting angry at that person when there's a whole universe within that we have to delve into and respect because it has been presented to us. This is our journey. There's a human element and a divine element, and they both need our respect. They both need our affection. And he's saying, spend your time doing that. Go inwards. Stop delving and wasting your time in frivolities that will get you nowhere in life. That's just phenomenal. The way he just, Okay, next one, number 14. He says, even if you're going to live 3,000 more years or 10 times that, remember, you cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another one than the one you're losing now. Wow. This is the one life we've been given. So stop thinking about, future or the past, because this is the life that we are living now and the life that we're losing now. Okay, he continues. The longest amounts to the same as the shortest. The present is the same for everyone. Its loss is the same for everyone, and it should be clear that a brief instant is all that is lost. For you can't lose either the past or the future. How could you lose what you don't have? Essentially, the past is gone. Yesterday was history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, and that's why it's called the present, as Master Shifu from Kung Fu Panda would say. And essentially, the past and the future are inexistent currently. The only moment I have is this moment now, when I am talking in front of a camera. This singular moment is the only gift I have been given. The past and the future are inexistent. They don't even matter anymore. But I spend so long of my life thinking about the past and the future that I forget to appreciate the moment I have now. This moment now, this gift. And that's what he's telling us. Okay, and then he continues. He says, remember two things. That everything has always been the same and keeps recurring. And it makes no difference whether you see the same things recur in 100 years or 200 or in an infinite period. And number two, the longest lived and those who will die soonest lose the same thing. The present is all that they can give up, since that is all you have. And what you do not have, you cannot lose. Interesting. So he's just reiterating the point that this is the moments that we have, that we should be savoring, we should be tasting, we should be living these moments. Because when we die, it is these moments that will count. The past and the future are inexistent anyways. And the moment that I lose is the same moment that you are losing. This current moment is the gift that we have equally and that we are losing. So we need to make the most of it. Otherwise, what's the point? What is even the point? Right, I'll skip a few. Number 17, human life. So this is on page 22 of the Meditations. Okay. Duration, momentary. Nature, changeable. Perception, dim. Condition of body, decaying. Soul, spinning around. Fortune, unpredictable. Lasting fame, uncertain. To sum up, the body and its part are a river, the soul a dream and mist. Life is warfare and a journey far from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. Then what can guide us? only philosophy, which means making sure that the power within stays safe and free from assault, superior to pleasure and pain, doing nothing randomly or dishonestly, and with imposture, not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it, and making sure that it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from, and above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit as nothing but the dissolution of the elements from which each living thing is composed. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually into one another, why are people afraid of all of them changing and separating? It's a natural thing, and nothing natural is evil. Wow. I mean, how can you not be blown away by a paragraph so... It's so hard to even like explain in words what Marcus Aurelius is talking about here. He's saying human life is so fragile. You know, all this fame, status, money, all of these things that we crave for, nothing is guaranteed. When the moment of death comes, it will all be gone into oblivion. It will be obsolete. It will be like it never existed, which in a sense, once it's gone, it's like it's gone. It's not there anymore. So why do we waste our lives doing all of these things, chasing after all of these things, when really the only thing that can save us, that he says, is our philosophy, our moral code, our purpose in life. Again, I've been reading a book called Driven by Purpose. I almost finished it. But all about purpose. This is what causes us to find satisfaction, pleasure in life, to find our purpose in life. And then he says, why are you scared of death? There's nothing to be scared of. Death is natural, and nothing in nature is evil. So death is good. It's a natural progression. A child that is born into this world goes through a form of transformation from one state to the other, just like a caterpillar becomes into a butterfly. The same way, when a human being goes through this process of going from life to death, it's just a natural progression of human life, and there is nothing to be scared of. There's nothing evil about that. In fact, death is a natural culmination of life. It is a good thing. It is a good thing. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like when you read these paragraphs, I could just spend hours and hours just pondering on just that one paragraph. And this is what timeless books like people like Marcus Aurelius and Meditations gives you. It offers you that opportunity to just sit with it. And then every time you come back to it, it's like a river that keeps on giving. And it's never the same thing. All right, I want to share a couple more and then we can end it. So, right. So this is from book number 5, page 53 of this translation. What does he say? Okay. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born to do? The things I was brought into this world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? But it's nicer here. So you were born to feel nice? Instead of doing things and experiencing them? Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and the spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best as they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? But we have to sleep sometime, someone would say. Agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking, and you are over that limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There, you're still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough, or you'd love your nature too, and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than the engraver does for the engraving, or the dancer for the dance, or the miser for the money, or the social climber for status? When they're all really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up practicing the arts. Is helping others less valuable to you? Not worth your effort? To shrug it all off and wipe it clean, every annoyance and distraction, and reach utter silence, utter stillness? Child's play. It's all child's play. That's what he's saying. It's all child's play. Why do you want to sleep on the duvet? I know it's cold. I know, but you have a mission. You have a purpose to fulfill in this life. What are you doing under the blankets? What are you doing down there? When you have a life to live, when you have a point to prove, not to people, to yourself, that God has given you this one life, why are you wasting it sleeping away and eating and drinking and, going through these frivolities of life? Going through these, like, the hedonistic lifestyle. Why? All right. I'd like to read one more paragraph and then we can end. So this is book number 8, page number 102 of this translation. It's the last one I'll read. It says, the first step: don't be anxious. Nature controls it all, and before long you'll be no one, nowhere, like Hadrian, like Augustus. Yeah? Don't be anxious. You're going to die very soon. Then it's like you never existed. Why worry? Why be scared? The second step: concentrate on what you have to do. Fix your eyes on it. Remind yourself that your task is to be a good human being. Remind yourself what nature demands of people. Then do it without hesitation and speak the truth as you see it, but with kindness, with humility, without hypocrisy. Nature's job to shift things elsewhere, to transform them, to pick them up and move them here and there. Constant alteration, but not to worry, no. There's nothing new here. Everything is familiar. Even the proportions are unchanged. Everything is the same. If you go back 100 years ago, the life that they say history repeats itself. The lives we're living is nothing unique. All right, we have technology that they didn't have. But it's all the same kind of lives, the same issues, the same troubles, the same problems, the same difficulties, the same ups and downs, the joys and all of these things that we've had in life. It's all the same. Nothing has changed. So stop being anxious. Stop worrying about it, because it's all going to end. It's all going to come to an end. And number 2, just focus on your mission, on what you are brought here to do. Don't oversleep and overeat and overindulge in pleasures that take you nowhere. No. Discover your purpose. Find what it is that you've been brought here to do, and go out and seek it. And seek it because it is your job to go and look for it. And why shouldn't you do it? Why shouldn't you live your purpose? You have the one life to live. Oh, honestly, there's so much that you can unpack. I only read like a few paragraphs, and even then there's so much you can just think about and extract from that. But I think this is, like I said, one of the books that you keep on coming back to over and over again, because every time you read it, you get a different perspective, a different way of looking at life. And I'll definitely be putting this as one of my reference books. I'll be coming back to it over and over again. It's not one that I just read once and done. So yeah, I hope that was useful and beneficial, and I hope that encourages you to pick up this Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I definitely recommend Gregory Hayes. He's a good translation. It makes a lot of sense in terms of the translation. In terms of the English itself, it all flows well, because sometimes translators don't do a very good job in translating it in the language, but Gregory Hayes has done a fantastic job. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, see you soon.